Hey Patreon family, this is Mateo. I wanted to come to you and let you know about a three-part series that I'm going to be doing soon and putting on Patreon soon called BLM, CRT, and the Communist Manifesto. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with what BLM and CRT stands for, BLM is Black Lives Matter, CRT is Critical Race Theory. So it's BLM, CRT, and the Communist Manifesto. And it's going to be a three-part series. And originally the idea for this is I was going to do a bit on, I read the Communist Manifesto so you don't have to. But as I read the Communist Manifesto, I was just so struck by the way that what the Communist Manifesto puts forward is exactly what BLM is trying to do, what CRT attempts to do, and a lot of the leftist woke agenda beyond that, but especially BLM and CRT. When you look at their modus operandi and the Communist Manifesto, and especially when you keep in mind that, again, the founders of BLM openly said that they're trained Marxists. And so then you look at the Communist Manifesto, which is one of the most important or well-known or famous writings of Karl Marx. Also, Engels was part of it and a contributor as well. But when you realize this is one of his most popular works, if you will, and that BLM says they're trained Marxists, and then you read the Communist Manifesto, and you see, wow, this gives you a real insight into exactly what BLM is truly trying to do and what their true end game is. And when you understand a little bit about critical race theory and you apply that to this agenda, these methods that are being talked about in the Communist Manifesto, it's very striking. And as much as there is to learn about Marxism from the Communist Manifesto, when we read the Communist Manifesto, we actually learn a whole lot about BLM and CRT, even beyond what we might already know. And it gets a little bit dark and it's a little bit scary when you put the two together. And when you realize that this CRT, critical race theory, is being brought into our educational system in America, and it's being pushed on the elementary school level and in public schools. So that's what this three-part series is going to focus on. It's going to be a deep dive into that. And I think I'm probably going to put this for our inner circle patrons only, at least in the beginning. And that's not as a gimmick just to try to get everybody to go to that subscription level, since it is the top tier of subscriptions. That's not why I'm doing it, and it's not a gimmick for that, but it's because this can really be such a sensitive topic that brings so much vitriol and ire, and really so much of what we talk about on 3F, even on the weekly podcast that we put out there for everybody on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We already get into some pretty dicey topics that people are real quick to want to tell you don't deserve to live if you're even putting this opinion forward and talking about it. So, but even though that's the case, there's still some things that, we really just want to keep in that inner circle and that contained community. And also, we're talking about race here, and we're going to be talking about race in this series, and that can be a real sensitive subject. And this is not going to be on the inner circle because we only want white people to hear what we're saying, and we don't want black people to hear that. Quite the opposite. I want as many black followers as we can get, and I know that my black conservative brothers and sisters and a lot of black Christians are going to agree with everything that I say on this, and they will agree with this. So I don't want you to think that it's about, oh, let's get into that inner circle because it's about race, and we only want it to be with said in a white environment, because that's not the case. I want as many black patrons and fellow conservatives and Christians and patriots on Patreon and in that inner circle. It's more just to get away from the left in general for this sensitive topic, be they white, black, whatever on the left, and just talk with our conservative brothers and sisters about this, be they white, black, Asian, Mexican, Latino. So that's the purpose, at least for originally putting it on Inner Circle. Now, once it's there for a bit, Bobby and I might decide that we want to also make it accessible to VIP, to just the official patrons, and who knows, maybe even someday down the road we'll put these on YouTube or the free podcast sites for everybody. That might happen down the road, but at least for now it's going to be for you Inner Circle patrons. And again, it's going to be a 3-part series called BLM, CRT, and the Communist Manifesto, and we're going to do a deep dive into that, and I think it's going to be pretty enlightening and entertaining. So thank you guys all for that. Stay tuned, and that'll be coming to you soon. Thank you guys.